Hello, today we will talk about pivot and how pivot works in Unity. First, let's drag an prefab to the ground. As we can see, when we drag this prefab, it will just fit to the ground. As you can see, there was a point. Commonly, it's called the pivot point of this object. We can even switch from the center point to pivot point. Center point means it's just the point of the central mesh of this object. And if we switch to the pivot point, in Unity Standard, we commonly set the pivot point to the bottom center of this object. Why do we set this bottom center point? It is because when we drag the object, we simply need it just to fit to the ground. As we can see, if we set this to 0, 0, 0, you can see the pivot is just set to the ground. So we don't need to worry about how this object fits to the ground because we set all the pivot to the ground. Okay, this is the description of the pivot. Then we will see. In most of cases, the pivots are just set very correctly, and we can simply drag everything to here. But in some cases, if you imported the model is not following the right pivot construction, you will see, oops. You can see this building, it falls to the ground. Why does it happen? It is because this building is not follow. Let's set it to 0, 0 to see make it very clear. You can see. You can see. It should be like this for us to drag it, but when we set it to 0, it falls to ground. So we need to fix the pivot. So how to fix the pivot? There was an easy tool in the asset store, as I will show you. This one, it's called the SuperPivot Pro Modifier. There is also a free version of it. Just some function is different, but it's you can also use it. So I have already imported, so I will just move on. As we can see in this building, we should before we fix this pivot, we will have to wrap it into an empty object. As you can see, this object is just wrapped to this new object. Then we will fix the pivot simply. Click here. Then we will see a bar here. You can see as you can move the pivot, it will automatically calculate the cache, the mesh, how it is centered. Commonly, we will set it to half, and for the Z is half, and we will set this Y, as you can see. Let me simply move it here to see clearly. When we can move it to the bottom or the top of it, it will automatically cache the mesh to the bottom. So we will set it to click it here, center, and make it to this point. Then we stop changing pivot. As we can see, and we drag back it to 0. You can see it's perfectly fit to the ground. So I can simply do like this. Make it a new prefab. Yes, here. Drop it here. Yeah, we will break this prefab and make it a prefab here. Okay, let's drag it again. You can see it's just fit to the ground perfectly. Very easy and a nice tool. Okay, sometimes you will have to deal with a lot of model needed to be fixed. How to do them batchly and quickly, I will show you. First, let's drop some prefabs. It looks wrong, and some prefab is just right. All right. Yes. So as we can see, these two prefabs, their pivot is not right. So we will fix them quickly. Firstly, we will break them completely and wrap them into new ones. I would love to change their name to the original one. Yes. Then we move the pivot. Surely make XZ to the center, and we set the Y to just to the bottom. Okay, that's done. If you switch to 0, you can see their pivot works perfectly to the ground. Then I will save them. Drop the prefab. Yes. And let's check the result. Whoops, works perfectly. So this is small tips for you to do the job. Hopefully you will like our other tutorials. Will bring you more to help you fasten your Unity development. Thank you for watching.